Aloha! Rollin Frost here, Kona astrologer, and I'm about to do a show for you. We're going to cover the second week in August 2017 and see what's going on in the sky mirror and how it may affect our lives here on the earthly plane. Yeah, I've still got my laryngitis. Actually, kind of started in my lungs and crept up to my throat, and is actually the result of 2-3 years of ignorant neighbors spraying Roundup on vacant lots, and the wind blowing directly into my house, all behind the bushes. I couldn't see it, didn't know what was going on. A very sneaky form of Neptune pollution, and you can hear what's happened to my voice. Anyway, my apologies, but I'm going to keep up this work. Chop wood, carry water. I've got a lot to tell you about. You're going into a very turbulent week. A lot of stuff is happening. So, a lot of information about to come to you about what's happening up in the sky, which is a mirror of what happens here on Earth. And probably lots of interesting things, but one interesting thing is there's a full moon coming up on August 7th at 15 Aquarius, and it gets you away from that last full moon on Pluto, which was the panicky eek a bug, nuclear weapons, eek, missiles, etc. So that the full moon coming up on the 7th, just a few days from where you are now, kind of dumps Pluto and says, come on, enough with the nukes. And it trines Jupiter, which means some truth and wisdom is coming out. So it's a good full moon, for that matter. There's a lot of other things going on. And we have two important stations of planets. Now you remember the planets, they move around the sky, and they move, and they move like 3 steps forward, 1 step back, 3 steps forward, 1 step back. They're making loops if you watch them in the sky. But when a planet loops and stops and reverses direction, we call it a station. Then it loops back here, stops, it's another station, and goes forward. These points where it stops, now it doesn't really stop, of course, it's because of the relative motion of the Earth here and the other planets, but to us sitting here on Earth, it appears to stop and pause. That pausing point, that station, is when it just stands up and shouts at you. And here's one coming up. This is Uranus, one of my favorite characters. The Mayan, Aztec, all the Mesoamerican astrologies, which I've discovered were the best, cleared up a lot of stuff for me. And one of the things that cleared up was these two planets, Uranus and Neptune, are not, just because you can't see them every day, doesn't mean they're not major players. They're big planets, just like Jupiter and Saturn. They're a pair, and so is Mars and Venus. Of Mars and Venus, Mars is the nasty one. Of Saturn and Jupiter, Saturn is the nasty one. Of Uranus and Neptune, Neptune's the nasty one. They call him Tezcatlipoca. And who's this guy? Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent. He even has feathers, kind of the color of this electric green. So the Aztecs, Mayans, Toltecs, all of those guys, they knew these two characters very well. Tezcatlipoca, I'm going to show you a little more on him shortly. Neptune, Pisces. I call them priest, artist, doctor, musicians. Very flashy. They like to wear jewelry and furs. They're the rich guys. They're the movie stars. Oh boy. Uranus, scientists, socialists, progressive. Let's take care of everybody. Aquarius, see? Now we're moving from the age of Pisces. 2,000 years we've had kings and priests in charge. We're moving into the age of Aquarius, where the people will be in charge. Moving from religion and belief into reason, common sense. So this business of Quetzalcoatl, Neptune got rid of Quetzalcoatl by getting him drunk. Quetzalcoatl, this wonderful guy from the old civilization, woke up in bed with his sister and was so shamed he left. That was a plot by Tezcatlipoca, an evil sorcerer. Yeah. So these two have been going on forever. And they're right next to each other, Pisces and Aquarius. And when Pisces is rising, Aquarius is on the 12th. And Neptune really fears reason and science. Yeah. When Aquarius is rising, it's Capricorn on the 12th. They don't like rules and regulations. They prefer anarchy to somebody writing down a rule or a regulation they have to follow, fencing them in with judgments. So these two are real characters. Of the two, Neptune is the malefic. He's the bad guy in my book, just like Saturn and Mars. So, a little background on these two characters now. Quetzalcoatl, Uranus, is going to stop in the sky on August 3rd. Oh, that's where you're sitting. You sitting there on August 3rd? Yes. So your consciousness is permeated by Aquarius. I saw they're having a G20, and I'm back a month before you. And here's these guys in the streets, and people are saying, oh, they're anarchists. They don't want any government around. Well, there's Quetzalcoatl, there's Uranus. There's the Aquarian spirit. Don't govern me, I won't govern you. Everybody has inbuilt, what did Ben Franklin say? We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. That's Uranus, that's Aquarius, that's Quetzalcoatl. Okay, so he's stopping right now. And you could feel a little jittery, because he'll make you feel a little jittery. He also has to do with things that turn, like tornadoes and hurricanes. And he sets off that twisting, turning thing. The Aztecs actually had, call him a god, but a spirit called Huracan, which was a one-legged twirling god. That's Uranus. Yes. So, he'll come along and take your power away, your electricity. He's very electric. He rules electricity. Neptune, Tezcatlipoca, rules organic chemistry. There's your pesticides and Monsanto and secret, chemistry. Uranus is also secret in a way, electricity. So if your electricity goes out of your cable TV, oops, you're isolated, you're alone. Go meet your neighbors. That's what a Uranus is trying to teach you. And you're right in the middle of it. So if you feel isolated, you feel alone, you're not. Turn on the internet. Pick up the telephone. Turn on the TV. You'll find a universal mind is there, and we all share it. Yes, in some respects, we're all thinking the same thoughts. A little different timing, but that's the universal mind. It's like we're all telepathic, and we're tuning in to this Uranus station. Neptune does a similar thing. Well, he wants you to get together and sit in the movie theater or the church and sing songs and do music and chants. And he gets you all together through the heart. Uranus gets you all together through the mind. I love the glyph here. The glyph is two crescents. Those are fleshed beings, personality. They're faces. That's crescent. Crescent, the cross, circle of spirit. These crescents aren't looking at each other, but they get tied together by the cross of matter. The union guy goes into the shop and here's all these different religions, and ages and sexes and all. They don't talk to each other much. But he says, you need more wages, you need more safety. And they say, yes, and they get united. So Uranus unites people because of things in the physical world. That's what hurricanes and tornadoes and quakes do. They unite you because they tie you together as physical concerns over the circle of spirit. You know, your Aquarians, it's not that they deny non-physical things. The circle of spirit is everything from love to God to, you know, non-physical stuff. But in the Aquarian glyph, the symbol, the cross of matter dominates, you know, this spiritual stuff. And Aquarians will go along with it. We don't care what your religion is. We want to make sure you have food and shelter and the internet. So the internet is actually a symptom of the Aquarian age. 2,000 years of Pisces, then we had 200-year transition period, then we had 2,000 years of Aquarius. And you're at the end of that 200-year period of transition. It's been about 200 years since Ben Franklin, electricity, steam engines, things that go around, all the cars, the automobile engines, internal, and electricity. And 200 years of that. You look back, like I'm 76 now. When I was a kid, it wasn't too different. We had a radio, we had a telephone, we had a TV, we had an automobile. Sure, they're all designed differently now, these Aquarian tools, but they're the same things. They really haven't changed much. So that, you know, once you're in the Aquarian age, 2,000 years, it's not going to change much. It's a fixed air sign. So there's a little education for you about this character, this God, this spirit, this angel, whatever you want to call it, in the sky. He's also here in person with people. Yes, he is. Rebellious people. Common sense people. So, he's stopping. Thursday, the 3rd of August, you're there. So he's going to hit especially strong 4 times a day, because this whole chart turns around once a day. And, you know, so you'll feel him strongly at least 4 times a day. But the idea is, step out of the mold, wake up, look at things a little different, use reason, not belief. We've had enough Neptune. We've had enough of the famous kings, you know. Uranus, by the way, at 28 Aries, stopping, trines Mr. Trump's rising sign at 29 Leo. Yes, so he's liking this. All the press is turned around, and the TV announcers and everybody is gracing Mr. Trump with good press, and he's showing his common sense in a very easy way. Some of the things he's doing might be kind of cool, but, well, he's unleashing the capitalist pigs on our environment and the last of our water and our air and our minerals and our oils. Enough of this. Age of Kings is over. We all own that stuff. What, let the oil companies into the national parks? Are you kidding? Well, anyway, for me, it's undoing, 30, 40 years of my life's work is being undone in a couple days by some of these guys Mr. Trump has put in. Hate it. Well, let's see what happens, okay? Now you got the stage set. You know that right now, Aquarius, Uranus is winning. Quetzalcoatl is in charge. Okay, we run the moon around here, and we see that here's the sun in Leo, sextiling Jupiter, trining Saturn. Oh yeah, the judge and the lawyers. The laws are a law and order. Oh yeah, Mr. Trump. Well, over here is Pluto squaring Jupiter, opposing Venus. This is interesting. Towards the end of your next week, Venus moves up to 16 Cancer and opposes Pluto, and the girls are in trouble. But for you right now, Uranus is stationing. Oh, wow. Now here's another interesting thing. Mercury is stationing, going retrograde on August 13th. That's a week from your coming Sunday. And Mercury is stopping and going retrograde exactly opposite Neptune. So Mercury's going to have trouble with water, chemicals, getting lost, drowning. Kids are in danger at the end of your next week because of Mercury's the place he's stopping. And the Pluto, Venus, Jupiter, the young girls are in problems too at the end of your next week. So, let's talk more. Let's see. Did I get all that? Pretty much. Kids in danger. Transportation stops because Mercury is opposing Neptune. There's going to be confusion, delusion. Could be just floods. Could be other things. Here's the thing. We got two big deals going on here. And Uranus stopping and Mercury stopping and stationing has a lot to do with communication, transportation. I'm calling this a major event. Major event you're in this week. I don't know what it is. Maybe a solar flare knocks out a lot of communication, transportation stuff. Maybe big quakes in certain areas. Well, solar flares promote quakes, whether you know that or not. You have a big solar flare, you're going to have big quakes. Solar flares loosen up, the liquids in the earth, and the plates can move better. So, the other way that I talked about this coming week is I'm a chemical engineer by trade in the old days, and it had a lot to do with how things move through pipes in a refinery or a chemical factory. And we have two kinds of movement. One is called laminar flow, where all the liquids go through the pipe in layers, and it's smooth. Yeah, the ones along the edge are a little slower than the ones in the middle, but they compensate. So laminar flow, liquids go through these pipes things without a lot of trouble. And then there's turbulence. Turbulence throws the little laminar layers into chaos. Here the pipe goes through a L, has to turn direction. It tries to wear a hole in the fitting over here, the 90-degree. But there's turbulence in this thing, see? And then it takes it a while to get back into laminar flow. You are in a turbulent time right now due to Uranus stationing, creating a lot of turbulence, where you're at. And then in a week, 10 days, Mercury's stationing and getting all confused and lost with its opposition to Neptune. Ooh, so there's stages set. How's it go day by day? Let's check the moon going around the edge here. And as it does, it makes angles to these other planets. Thursday night, the moon's in Capricorn early, opposes Venus. Yeah, you got Uranus stationing anyway. You can't sleep and there's noise and weird stuff. So don't plan on sugar and sweets and sex Thursday night. Nope. Friday, on August 4th, still kind of uncomfortable, herky-jerky, turbulent. And you get to Friday night, Saturday morning, and the moon goes by Pluto. This is the final passage across Pluto while he had a full moon on him. Eek, a bug! Panic. Nuclears? Well, bugs. So this is a difficult time. Friday night goes through Saturday morning with a square to Jupiter. So this is the last time you'll deal with this, really, on this emotional exaggeration. Because you go through Saturday, late Saturday night, it's actually early Sunday morning, moon goes into Aquarius and squares Uranus. It gets more turbulent right here, see? So this whole period starts with panickiness, Friday night, Saturday morning, And then turbulence Saturday night, Sunday morning. Oh boy. And it doesn't lighten up much. You have a very chaotic weekend here, full of interruptions, let's call them. Uranus interrupts you. And here everybody can't get it fixed. Here's a nasty opposition to Mars, and the young men in the military can't help. Finally, Monday morning here, we have the full moon at 15 Aquarius. And things look a little better. At least the panicness goes down a little bit. And as you go through Monday, here's a trine to Jupiter in the afternoon and a sextile to Saturn towards the evening. And it seems like good sense and the regular ways we deal with things will work. Here about 9, 10 o'clock, the moon goes by the south node, though. We still need help. Everybody needs help. And then Tuesday morning, here you got the moon just finishing Aquarius, and it makes a nice sextile to Uranus. Common sense and reason prevails. All this shaking isn't so bad. Tuesday morning, August 8th. Moon in Pisces. You're going into the Neptune zone. As you go into Wednesday, here's the opposition to Mercury. In the morning, transportation, communication, the kids are lost. What's going on? I can't think. You're in the Neptune zone. Yeah, smoking mirrors. That's the name of Neptune to an Aztec. Smoke and mirrors, we still use it today, huh? So that's what you got Wednesday. Can't trust nothing. As the moon goes by Neptune, Tezcatlipoca is raging, and water problems. You know, chic. Finally, here's a sextile to Pluto. Happens after lunch Wednesday the 9th. Get a little power and control over it. But Thursday morning, the moon squares Saturn. We're still not doing so hot. We're still restricted and feel a little scared for some reason. Probably during this whole time as the moon's in Pisces. Thursday night after dinner, the moon shifts into Aries. And you're going back into the turbulent zone, which happens here Friday. Friday night, the square to Pluto, a little panicky. Square to Venus. Young girls are missing. I can't sleep. The sirens are keeping me up. Here's the opposition to Jupiter. People partying too much. The clowns are loose. Shut those clowns off. Yeah, it's not an easy time, Friday night. Not a time to party. Saturday's a little better. It settles down. There's a trine to Saturn. A trine to Mars. Get some physical work done. Go out and do some prevention. Because late Saturday night, moon goes by Uranus. You get high wind. Uranus rules wind. Neptune rules liquids. The FEMA pros say, run from liquids, hide from wind. So your weekends are, hide from the wind, huh? Don't go out there when I got trees in my yard, big pods come off the Royal Poincianas in the wind, come down at you like missiles. So Saturday the 12th, turbulence right into Sunday, which is when Mercury goes retrograde. Saturday, Sunday, the 12th and 13th, high probability of things like solar flares and other difficulties and things that make it a problem for you to communicate. Okay, this is by Robin George. It's about Tezcatlipoca. And I see this. It's also an eclipse. The jaguar is a king. I think he's kind of like Mr. Trump. So here's what goes on in an eclipse. Fire cat, Mars in Leo rising for Mr. Trump. Here he is. What's going on? There's an eclipse about to happen. Is that Hawaii? I hope not. at the end of the eclipse, the lion is afraid. Here comes the sun. Thank you, Robin George. YouTube just served me up the battle between Quetzalcoatl and Tezcatlipoca. Of course, it's in Spanish, but here's Uranus and Neptune having it out. You can tell Quetzalcoatl by the green feathers, and Tezcatlipoca by the Lone Ranger mask.